All right, I think we're live, and it's actually working today correctly. Make sure I can hear it. Yep. All right, perfect. So we're live. Good morning, folks. Welcome to the Service Geek Podcast. I'm Frank Hernandez, host of the Pest Geek Podcast and owner of Nature Pest. And what I'm going to be doing today, and I got this camera out of my way so I can. So forgive me if I'm not looking into the camera, but I'm going to be doing a live stream presentation of what it is, how to generate leads with SEM, which includes SEO, and where the marketing is going, and what you can do um, for those of you that are looking for an avenue. Some people are looking for door to door. Some people are looking for ads. Some people are looking at Yext or Yelp, Angie's List, Thumbtack, um, doing pay per lead on those services, doing Google Local, service ads. There's many avenues for people to generate leads. You got to pick one. And for me, for the last 10 years, what I've been doing is SEO and YouTube. That's primarily my lead sources. Those two. Social media doesn't provide leads, but it is absolutely essential that I'm on TikTok, that I'm on Instagram, that I'm on, because of the validity of our local business. And what we need to understand is that SEO, it is a holistic strategy. It isn't about just one thing. It isn't about ranking your website. And how do you rank your website? You can't do one without the other. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get into, for those of you, let me go over here. Where did I get my, all right, here we go. And I'm going to do is share my PowerPoint presentation or slides. Let's see here. Now, that's not it. Let's see here. And for those of you, you can join me on all the social media channels that we're on. You can join me on YouTube, Facebook. We're pretty much everywhere. And if you want to join me, I put a link let me put a link, see if I have it here, so you can join me. And I'm going to try to answer your questions in this webinar to get you, put this a little bit over here, and I might be able to do my PowerPoint a little bit easier. Bring that down, get it out of my face. Give me a second while I set up and bring that PowerPoint up. Let me go over here because I really don't need that, and I don't need that. That's going to be, where did it go? Oh, here we go. All right. So what I'm going to do is put this here, and I'm gonna do my presentation. Slide. Let me go here. I'm sorry, guys. Okay, why won't it? Slide. All right, well, I'm going to share it. Let me share my screen, and let's share this one. All right, so I'm going to be over here on the corner, and actually, let me not forget to record this because I want to record this webinar. Record, and let's record it to the cloud. Does it? All right, so we're recording, and we're going to share the SEO webinar masterclass. All right, and am I sharing that? Let me make sure it's over here. Wait a second, I got to monitor up. I got to look at making sure it's coming out the other end. All right. bigger so that you can see it. And then I'm going to be talking about the local SEO webinar. There's two types of local SEO that we're going to get into, and one of the local SEO is obviously your GMB, your GBP, now called Google Business Profile. That used to be the Google My Business. Okay, and what this is what is SEO and SEM. All right, so let's get, for those of you who are not familiar with the terms, there is a difference. SEO, we're going to be covering in the cast, and what's the difference between local SEO and hyper local SEO? Understanding keyword research and how to develop a local SEO strategy. You can even create a local SEM strategy. So basically, search engine optimization is the act or process of optimizing something to make it the most effective as possible or functional. So in other words, it's doing it correctly and filling it correctly, so that I just want to make sure that you guys are hearing me, because something looks not right on this. There we go. Okay, so it is working. All right. I just wanted to make sure. All right. So we're trying to optimize something so that it can be fully utilized. And in this case, it could be a website, it could be a YouTube channel, it could be a Facebook page, it could be Twitter, it could be a blog, it could be anything that you need it to be optimized in order for it to function correctly. So it's the process that you go through of designing it so that it operates as it needed. Now, what do I teach? I'm going to be talking about two courses. I taught this one last year, the local SEO MasterClass. This is primarily for GMB and everything that has to be done for your GMB to operate correctly. Most people say, I'm not getting any leads from my GMB. When I analyze their GMB, it's not even their Google Business Profile. It's not even optimized correctly. And this is the reason why they're not getting any results. They're paying a company $200, $600 a month to get them to rank, but they're not getting any results. And usually it's because a lot of it, believe it or not, isn't done right. They think that by doing stuff on the back end that produces a temporary result is going to get you the long-term results that you need for your business. And I've been doing this, folks, for 10 years. I started in 2013, actually. Started to do SEO, blogging, building my site, and doing YouTube and social media. And what I found out is that, yes, it did generate to the point where it generates over 200 leads a month for us. That's what we've been able to do in 10 years. Now, there's ways to do this faster, and a lot of people, what they wanted is they wanted cheap, they wanted fast, and they wanted to be effective. And I said, you can't have all three. SEO, like anything else, is going to have a learning curve. And what I tell people is sign up for my local SEO class first. That thing is, I think, $300 right now. It will teach you everything you need to do. You don't need to pay anybody to do this. You can, once you set it up, it pretty much will function on its own consistently, with minor things that you need to be doing on a daily basis, which you can do from the field. So set up the Google Business Profile correctly, understanding semantic and entity terms, competitive analysis on how to spy on the competition, competitive keyword analysis for local, because it's different. Local GMB keyword analysis is different than what you do in for creating a website. And local page structure, overall rank, keyword rank, local, and what are SERPs. Web development platforms that you can use to develop your own website. You do not need a web developer, but you can have, my opinion is, get a WordPress developer, get the credentials, you own the site, you buy it, it's your site, you have them work on your site, and if you decide to quit, or they decide to quit themselves or fire them, then you can go ahead and continue to get another person that can work on your site without missing a beat. How to optimize images, get backlinks, stacking and stacks. There are different types of stacks, and we discussed that in the training. How to use press releases. for both SEO and backlinks. Syndicated networks, how to create a syndicated network that is automated 100% so that you're not distributing anything, and how to use YouTube for local. That's kind of what we teach in a nutshell in the local SEO MasterClass, which is for the GMB. And then the one we're starting in January is the class on how to do everything for the website, social media. What's the strategy that I have for creating my SEO? And then we're getting into SEM also, where we're starting to use ads campaigns to drive more of the SEO. And there's links and there's strategies for that. So search SEO is search engine optimization. And then you have, what is search engine marketing? Well, it's a combination of all three. It's PPP, pay per click, Google Ads, or pay per lead, Yelp, Angie's List, Thumbtack, even Google local service ads are part of the SEM. So it's search engine marketing versus just search engine optimization, because you're really you need to become a search engine marketer. You don't need to become an optimizer. You need to learn how to market your business, and this is what we're kind of going through in the class. All right, so local SEM, search engine marketing. What do you do with hyper-local Google business profile? Well, reality is that nobody's going to rank you on a Google map for 20 miles. It doesn't exist anymore. Anybody who tells you that is pretty much full of it. Nobody can pull it off. I've had 3 companies that specialize on Google business profile. They could not get it past 5 miles. On the average, it's about 2.5 to 3 miles. This is what I've been able to do on my own. This is why I fired everybody. It says, you can't do it any better than I do it. Why am I paying you for something that I'm already doing? And they couldn't make it any better. So when we look at that hyper local, why does it work so well for some business and others? Well, if you're a brick and mortar store, you're a pizza place, people are usually buying pizza within 2.5 to 5 miles. They're not going any further. Very few people are ordering a pizza from 10 miles away, unless it's like their favorite spot in the whole world, or you're in a market where you're the only guy for 20 miles, then you're going to rank for 20 miles. That's the given. But the hyper local is that, that small 2 to 5 mile radius on the hyper local. And that's very easy to set up with one page on your site, really, with the services offered, and then optimizing the GMB correctly to get that. Now, when we talk about local SEO or local SEM, now we're expanding it beyond the 2.5 miles to an entire city, and then to an entire county, and all the cities, suburbs, and demographic areas that are in that city that you want to rank in. Okay, and that's where the SEO comes in, on the on-page SEO, the off-page SEO, the backlinking, all of those things to get you to rank. And this is what I teach in the second course, which is really, the first one is focused on this hyperlocal right here. The second course is actually focused on how to go beyond that, and how to rank in any county, if you're going to be doing countywide, how to use the directories, listings, Bright Local software that's available, and then local blog directories also to help you rank in the cities that you want to be in. Okay, so that's what we cover in the new course that we're putting out in January. This is going to be the first week of January, right after the holidays. I like to do it at the end of year, because this gives people the time where they're down. If you're in the northeast, you have a lot of downtime. You've gotten over the holidays, the vacations, things like that, and it gives you time to just be able to absorb this and go through it, and then start implementing, because everything that I teach is I show you actually step by step how to do it, and what you need to do, so that you can go ahead and get this done on your own. There's 2 of the biggest search engines in the world. There's no question, is Google, the number 1, and then YouTube. Most people do not think that YouTube is a search engine. YouTube is owned by Google. So Google is going to try to reward its own products. Google is not in the business of penalizing people. What Google is saying is that your content that you produce has to be a helpful content. And there's a whole list, and I'm going to give you a link so that you can read that and start absorbing the content. Google is, if Google penalizes your site, it's usually because your site is spammy. And what you got to understand is when you're designing your site and you're a local business, you have to let Google know that you are an actual local business. The way you do that is setting up your GMB. All of your social media, when you fill out your GMB, everything that is in that GMB, Google is telling you, I need it filled out. If there's a spot to fill something out, you need to fill it out. And Google puts all the social media links. Google is going to go to your website and verify your NAP on your website. Your name, address, phone number. It's going to verify it to make sure that you're a local business. Then Google is going to go to your social media profiles and confirm you're a local business. And it's going to verify it by sending you a card and confirming you're a local business. Once you do that and you tie your website to the GMB, everything that you do has to be focused on local. Well, that could be city, that could be county, that could be state. It can't be I want to rank everywhere in the US and I want to be number one on Google. You want to be ranking number one or in the top 3 for the keywords that is going to bring in the business, not for everything in the world. And you're not going to be able to rank everything number one because you have, depending on your competition. Let's say you have 10 of the top 10 in the PCT 100 in your market. It's going to be very hard for you to try to rank number one for everything. You got to learn how to create a strategy that allows you to rank and outrank your competition. And usually what I find is that the competition is weak. This is the good news, that most people have hired SEO companies that don't do anything for them, and they're doing it themselves and they're not doing it right. So therefore, you don't need to beat everybody out. You just need to beat out the weakest. And how we do this is through strategy. Now, let's talk about on-page SEO. This focuses on optimizing your website, which you have direct control over. You can't control what Google is going to do tomorrow. You can't control what YouTube is going to do tomorrow. You can't control anything on the social medias, what they're going to allow, not allowed. What you can control is your email base, your customer base, which is very important, and your website that you have control over. Okay, the quality of your content and keyword optimization is, and when I use keyword optimization, I do not mean stuffing a bunch of keywords, repeating it all over the page. That's not going to get you ranked anymore. Google algorithms and the Google AI can understand what it is that you're about without you having to repeat it to them 37 times on a page. You have to outdo your competition in the quality and the optimization that you're doing for those keywords and figuring out where the opportunities are for you, which is what I try to teach. So it isn't just about, I want to rank number one for pest control. Everybody in the world wants to rank for that. Everybody in the world wants to rank for HVAC. Everybody in the world wants to rank for plumbing. That's like the number one coveted keyword. You know, the chances of you doing that, just focusing on that, is not the right focus, because you're not going to be able to focus. You're not going to be able to generate the amount of traffic right away to dominate that. So the domination of a market has to start out with the low-hanging fruit of what's available, and then moving up and getting your domain authority up and getting the longevity of that website and getting Google to rank your content. And we teach you how to monitor if Google is actually ranking your content. You got to change your mindset from I am going to hire somebody and abdicate that responsibility because I don't know anything about it, to becoming your CMO, your chief marketing officer, and understanding, or at least having an understanding how this works and how to track it for yourself and how to hold them accountable if you're going to hire an SEO. How do you hire a person in-house and hold them accountable? You have to become knowledgeable at least the tracking part. Okay, so we talk about title tags and meta descriptions and heading and URLs structure, internal linking, image optimization. How do you determine user engagement and user experience? There's software that does that, and you have to monitor all of this in order to. And you say, man, this seems like a lot. Understand that I got 4,000 followers just on my personal Facebook page alone. The amount of people that are going to be able to actually take this on, pull it off, and do it, I think it's probably less than 1%. So maybe 40 people are going to probably take this on because it's not for everybody. And I get it. And this is the reason why I am doing this class, to show you what it's really about, to show you what it's really going to take for you to do it and how long. And you need to understand that this needs to be something you build. This is an asset that you own, that you invest in and you continue to build on, not something that you just turn on a switch and immediately starts producing revenue for you or starts producing leads. This is part of a strategy. So right now, if you're starting out and you're dead, this is the perfect place to start out. If you're a solo operator and you're getting to the point where you need to do more marketing because you've ran out of friends and family, this is a low cost way of doing it, but it requires time. Okay, and that's what I'm trying to do. So now your off page is how do you do things outside of your website? In other words, how do you build high quality, relevant, industry relevant backlinks to your site? Your social media marketing, it needs to be done. Okay, you can't say, well, I don't like TikTok. I think TikTok is for kids. Well, guess what? 10% of adults are watching TikTok, and of younger people who are still living at home are watching it and are being influenced by it, and they have an enormous amount of influence on home. It is not a point of whether you want to be on it or not because you don't like it. You got to understand that your customer isn't you and you're not your customer. And you got to get over that. What you got to do is understand that without the social signals of relevancy in your marketplace, Google will rank somebody else who's more relevant, who is using all those platforms, because it's giving feedback to Google. And Google is reading all that feedback. And you're not giving enough feedback, then you become irrelevant. So social media marketing is going to be absolutely essential, even when you get down to doing retargeting ads on Facebook and things like that, where somebody goes to your website they didn't buy, but now they landed on your site. You link your Facebook with your site, and then all of a sudden now they start getting your ads on when they're on Facebook. Older clientele is right up your alley because they're on Facebook. The younger generation is on Instagram, but you know what? Older people are getting on, the 50-somethings are getting on Instagram. So you got to be on Instagram. You got to be where your audience is at, whether you like it or not. Guest blogging and content syndication. How do you create a syndication network? Doing influencer outreach in your community. In other words, you got to you don't want to get the guy who has 10 million followers and he's all over the world. You want to get the guy that's the local influence. A local website that talks about activities in your community. A local website that is for foodies. A local website that is focused on local, and local influencers that are focused on local. And how do you work together with them to create the relationships? Brand mentions and link earnings. Like, how do you earn a link from somebody? Okay, that's kind of like what we're teaching. There is the technical SEO, and people get intimidated by this because they don't understand it. Actually, it's not that hard. If you can do pest control and you can understand chemicals and you can understand pest biology, you can understand this, folks. It's not that hard on what people are doing. Site speed optimization. It needs to be vital that you pick when you're picking a theme for WordPress. You're picking a theme that's heavily supported. In other words, find out who has the most supported theme, and then you use that theme because then you're getting constant updates. You're getting something that is very useful, that has been optimized already for SEO to rank in speed and in when you're using Google Lighthouse or you're using GT metrics to evaluate the site. It tells you where, how good, well designed structurally that site is. Okay, mobile friendliness, secure socket layers. You need an SSL. If you're going to develop a website and you're going to be taken seriously, you're going to need to get an SSL certificate that your site is secure. Okay, whether you're selling anything on it or not, it doesn't matter. Making sure that you have XML sitemaps. I go to a lot of sites that have no XML sitemaps. Okay, implementing structured data known as schema markup. 99% of the sites that I look at, that I do an audit on, have no schema markup. Canonicalization and handling duplicate content on your site. How do you keep from doing that? Let me tell you, folks, my site is 10 years old. It has never been penalized by Google for anything inappropriate or wrong. My competition got better, and I had to get better. But actually getting penalized, no, because we followed best practices. When you follow best practices, you're not going to get. You could lose temporary, for instance, for like a day or so. Google puts out an algorithm, and all of a sudden our traffic drops. That's okay. We can live with that. Why? Because we're not a website that's trying to make $10,000 a day off of affiliate marketing. Those guys are the guys getting penalized, creating just an enormous amount of bad content. Those are the guys, local businesses that develop a site based on solid structure. You're not going to get penalized by Google. You may not get rewarded because you're not doing more than your competition. You're not doing enough. But that's not the same as getting penalized. And we need to understand that. So when we're talking about local SEO, the Google My Business optimization is going to be key. You're going to need both. You can't do really one without the other. Okay? So this is why I said people just can't go and say, I just want to work on my site. I don't want to work on my GMB. You got to do it. You can't say I want to work on my GMB and I want to rank in other places 20 miles away without working on your website. It's holistic. They work together. Okay? Local citations. Making sure that on the local citations, what are local citations? These are directory listings. Think about the white pages and different directories. Even Yelp is a directory. And if your information is wrong or it conflicts, in other words, if you are, Joe's Pest Control, it needs to be Joe's Pest Control everywhere. It can't be Joe Adams Pest Control and then Joe's Pest Control here. It can't have a P.O. box in one place and a physical address on the other. It can't have one phone number in one and another phone number in the other. In other words, you have to have a consistency of how you do everything across every single directory. And I have competitors somewhere around, they exceed 110 directories they're on. Well, guess what? I got to outdo them. If I am going to compete, I got to be competitive. And we got to be competitive in many areas. All right. So local keyword optimization. How do you pick those keywords? Reviews and ratings on local review sites. Even on Yelp, it is important to get reviews. I can't overstate that enough. And then how do you get local backlinking from relevant places, that are going to produce a quality, because it's more important to get a relevant link from, let's say, a home improvement place that says, hey, this is a local company and we use them, and gives you a review. Somebody that says, hey, we're a local restaurant and we're so happy with these people, and they put a page on their website about you and then link to you. That's relevant because it's talking about your service and you're in that city and you're a local business. So you see how this all works together? All right, so now when you're doing and you're setting it up, okay, here is the best outline I can give you, or checklist or cheat sheet that you can get for the GMB. In other words, the official business name. How did you register that name? And what's that? And the street address, a unit number, your zip, your phone number, a link to the website that you created a local page for that. Now, when I see people building out sites for hyperlocal, in other words, Macon, Georgia, pest control, and the site is on the front that they service Macon, Georgia. All right, and then they got the link is to that site, and that site services Macon, Georgia. But what happens if you want to service outside of Macon, Georgia? Um, then you need to be able to have a site that's about the target keyword, and we're going to get into that. But you need to create then a page all about the pest control you provide in that city, and then you link that to your GMB, not your main site link. Okay. You need a short description. You need a long description, and think about how you put your brand. Always think about your brand, your location, the city you're in, the state you're in, and the keywords that you want to rank for. And you put that under your primary category as your services right here. Okay. And this is a this. Then you have secondary categories. Let's say pest control service is the main category because that's what Google. Then you say, but you also do lawn care, and you also do animal removal, and you also do repair services because you're doing exclusion, right? You create a subcategory on all the categories that are available that you service. If it doesn't have its own subcategory, then everything falls under the main category. In other words, ant control, roach control, rodent control, all of those fall under the services under pest control, right? Now, if you're doing animal extraction or exclusion would fall under repairs services. See, and then what I find that 99% of the time I don't see is the services aren't optimized. There is a place for you to put a description about your service. Okay? Make sure your logo's there, your business hours. Everything is completely filled out. It could take you 4 to 8 hours to fill out your GMB correctly, and most people lose their patience. If you don't do it, you're not going to expect a result. It is, remember, it's about optimizing it to its fullest capacity. All your links, you need a YouTube channel, a LinkedIn channel. You need to be, all of those are there because Google is asking for it, then it's relevant to Google. They would not ask you for information that's irrelevant. Think of it that way. All right. So you need to make sure that is completely optimized. Then you need to, once you optimize your services, you need to upload pictures. The number one way to get ranked is to upload a picture at the site that you're trying to rank for. In other words, if you're within 2 to 5 miles from your home base, you should be uploading pictures. You should be uploading videos. Why? Because Google can hear the video and see what you're talking about. Hey, this is Frank with Nature Pest. I'm here in Macon, Georgia, and we're doing an ant control service. Check this out. Now you've included everything in that audio that Google AI can pick up on. In your pictures, if you upload them where you take them, they have an EXIF data that says exactly that you were on that spot when you took that picture. And that is more important than you coming back to your office and uploading a picture from a different location. When your techs are on the road, have them take pictures of rodent stations, holes, whatever it is they're doing, a video, just simply explaining what they're doing and uploading it from that location. That will have the single most important impact. Google Posts. You should be posting on a regular basis, 2-3 times daily, depending on your competition. You should be creating events in your GMB. People are, but I don't do events. Create an event that you do. In other words, every Thursday, we have an offer. Every Thursday, you get 20% off in the city of this choice. And you create that offer in perpetuity for a year. Reviews, get the reviews. So you got to utilize what's there available to you and create events, that might not be an event, but you got to create it. And you have to, in other words, you got to learn to be a creative and learn creativity. All right, how do you do this? Make sure that your sites, very few people are actually selling, sites that are not mobile friendly, but I still run into a ton of websites out there that were done 8 years ago that had never been optimized. Let me go in here real quick and see if anybody's got any questions. If you got any questions, folks, feel free to ask on here. we're doing this live. But a mobile-friendly navigation, okay? When you optimize the site, remember, over 65% of searches are done on mobile. So speed and optimization for mobile devices, that site needs to pass muster, okay? Local mobile optimization for location-based searches. In other words, you need to make it that when people are looking for you in a certain city, the number one keywords that are now coming up are the near me. Most people are not optimizing for near me keywords, all right? So you need to optimize for that. Content SEO. This is where we get into content writing and where you got to decide, are you going to do pages or are you going to do posts? And the reality is you do both. I know what people are going to say. Blogs no longer have an effect because there's so many blogs out there. No. Blogs don't have an effect because you're looking at it from a global scale of trying to rank everywhere for everybody. You need to keep understanding that you're a local company doing local business. And you need to be the most informative guy or gal in your category, in your city that you're trying to rank for. And therefore, blogs are used as for interlinking and relevance to boost you up in the rankings. And you need to do blogging and you need to do pages. You know, we teach people how to do service pages and how do you do and set up, and I'm going to show you this in a minute, how this structure works. But it has to be focused on the user intent. It isn't, I want to write what I want to write about. I'm going to write about what people are searching for. I'm not going to write what I think. This isn't about me writing my memoirs about, a pest control business. This is about how do I write with people and give them the answers they're looking for. Because even if you give people every single product that they can use, understand that 99% of people are going to use you and use you to just do it themselves. But that 1%, that 10% of people that are out there that are never going to do it themselves because they're your customer. They're the lawyer. They're the doctor. They're the person that's not going to sit there when you show them that they have to have 13 products and 13 different steps. They say, nah, this is too difficult. Tell the truth. Tell people how really difficult it is in a way that gets them excited about doing it themselves. Then they realize, geez, I got to buy $300 worth of products to get this done. It's much cheaper for me to hire him. Okay? Content formatting, readability, and engagement. You don't want to write at a college level. You want to write somewhere between an 8th and a 10th grade level. People have so many issues calling it, dumbing it down. Understand that you're writing for the audience you want to reach. And if you want to write like a PhD, you're going to reach nobody. So evergreen content creation, fresh content, there is nothing new under the sun, but understand it's fresh to that city because it is based on location. So it has to be fresh. Google can say, oh, I get it. He's writing about ants in Kalamazoo, Michigan. He's not writing about ants in Los Angeles. He's not trying to be a world blogger. You see what I'm saying? That's how you're conveying it to them. Video SEO, it's very important. I got friends who've been watching me for a while and they try to do SEO business, but I don't get any visibility. I don't get anybody. I said, you got it SEO'd around. When I do an analysis of their site, of their Google video channel, I notice it's not even SEO'd correctly. So you're using it for people in search to find you locally because you're using titles like, how to control ants around your house in Kalamazoo, Michigan. And there's a video out there with the city, the brand, and the location, and the service that you're providing. Not only that, but you're getting backlinks. Remember, YouTube is owned by Google. Google isn't going to penalize, but you can get a backlink from that video. You can use playlists to create playlists for cities. Go to my YouTube channel on Nature Pest. Look at what I'm doing. Follow me, rip me off, take everything I have. Because it won't affect me in your city. This is what I'm talking about. It won't. You can embed those then later and share them across all of social media, creating social relevance. It isn't about that people are going to be like, oh my gosh, I saw your video on Facebook and I decided to call you. No. It's going to be about you showing up when people are looking for something in the SERPs, okay, the search engine results pages. Um, those are the things that you're using on image on video. Image SEO is important. You have to optimize your images. You have to deal with the alt text that tells Google what that image is about, so that that image ranks. Because if you look at photos, you got to rank those images. If people are looking for something and your images captivate them, you see, then you can go ahead. Give me one quick second, folks. Excuse me, you need to take that off speaker. Thank you. My daughter decides she's going to run through the house talking to her friend on speakerphone. I'm telling you, folks, it isn't easy. Image compression for faster loading. You're going to have to equip your website with some image compression. You're going to have to optimize images so that they load quick. Responsive of image. You don't want them huge and so high quality that it takes forever to load. Okay, it's going to feel like you're on dial-up. So understanding that images can be SEO'd. Images can also be one of the things that I teach is how to use QR codes in images, because Google can read the QR code. You see, it can be read. So it's important to use QR codes in some images. You can embed them, you can hide them. It can be very visible. I'm learning how to do schema markup on images, and using Google properties. And one of the things we talk about is stacking. We're going to get into that. What that is. SEM. What is the purpose of your website? What I find when people are designing a website, they're asking the wrong question. How much should a 5-page website cost? That's the wrong question. Because you got to decide what you're going to do with your site. If you're going to use a site that you're going to drive traffic to, through pay-per-lead, pay-per-click, LSA, where somebody's going to click an ad and land on a landing page that has some type of a sales funnel on it that's going to convert them to a lead and get them to fill out that form so that you can call them and you can give them a quote, then that's a whole different website structure than when you're looking at doing SEO. And therefore, SEO is going to require a different mentality. The problem is that you're hiring website developers or website designers that are not developers. So they get you up, and I run this into all the time, they get you a pretty website. It looks great. It's slow, and it's never going to rank because there's no content on there for it to rank. You created 5 pages of an information site. When somebody lands on it, they can read about your business. It's a glorified brochure. It's a glorified business card. It isn't designed for Google to understand what's going on there, and it isn't designed to convert people. It's designed to give them information. Okay, and a lot of the time people don't hire. It's easier now. I mean, you can use ChatGPT to create really good ad copy that converts using neurolinguistic programming. It's easier now than ever for anybody to do that, where you would have to hire somebody to think about what's going to convert people to buy in the language. A copywriter. Most people don't hire a copywriter. The designer tells me, what do you want on it? And you give them, a list of 20,000 things that you do that nobody's going to read. Because he's a designer, he's not a marketing person. So, it matters how you structure your website. So are you structuring it for it to rank on Google, Bing, on Business Profile, on Apple Maps, and things like that? What is it that you're optimizing for? All right, now, keyword research is easy. Actually, once you learn how to do it, it's easy and it's actually simple. It's not easy because it takes time. It takes time for you to export and look for the keywords, sort the keywords, come up with a keyword strategy, how you're going to use it. Once you learn to do it, then it's almost intuitive. But it's still the biggest part of time that I spend is really on Keyword Planner, looking for keywords. And understand that Keyword Planner really is for Google Ads. But guess what? This is what Google also is using to rank websites. You can also go to Google Trends, look at Google Suggest. These are all free, by the way. People also ask, and Google Feedback. These are the things that you're going to rank for, that you're trying to rank for when you're now getting into on SERP SEO. And this is where we're at now, where we're getting into that phase of that. We go down here. All right, so to understand that it isn't really about keyword stuffing anymore. Really, it's about entities and known as semantic SEO. In other words, if you go to Wikipedia, okay, you go to Wikipedia. Let me here. Somebody I thought was asking me a question. If you go to Wikipedia and you go to Wikidata or you look up pest control, what you're going to find is that they figured out, and believe it or not, Google uses a lot of their language model for what they do. But the term pest control service, everything else that is under pest control, okay, are the keywords rodent control, ant control, and roach control. You're going to find it in Wikipedia. Look at the example. Go to Wikipedia, type in pest control service, and you're going to find everything that's related to pest control. But if you don't perform rodent control, why are you trying to rank for it? It's related to. You see, if you're doing ant control, some people don't do rodent control. They only do ants and roaches. Some people only do bedbug. You're trying to rank for bedbug. It's under a pest control service because there's no, for a bedbug service by itself, that you can go to, I don't believe so, that you can go to the GMB, but it's based on the GMB. So what does GMB say you're under? And then everything else falls under the keywords. Okay, so it's really about the entity, and pest control service is the entity. You're the brand. Your business is the brand, but the entity or the target keyword really that you're trying to rank for overall in the market is pest control service or pest control. All right, let me show you how you use this. This is a basic Google Keyword Planner output on, in the United States. So I can drill down to this to a market area, a metro market area, a city, a specific area. I can drill down and see how many people are actually searching for this, depending on how deep I want to go. And I usually go, this is why I said this is what takes time. But let's say ants, all right? Ants are a very low competition word because it's not a buying word. It's about information. So it's actually really easy to rank for ants. It's low competition, month change, not much. And when we look at the actual number back over here, which I don't have. So what would you use this keyword for? Well, I would use this keyword in my pest library, let's say. Ants. Then under ants, I'll show you the structure. Then you have ant control. How to control ants. Now look at this. It's high competition. It keeps growing, 100% change in the last 3 months. Why? Because you were in the summer when we pulled this. This was in 3/31 of 24 when I pulled this, February, March, through the whole year. And then an exterminator near me. Now look at that. That is a low competition word that has a lot of searches with an uptick of 50%. This is what you need to be looking at, is how do I rank for that keyword? See, why would you rank for the hardest thing? It's like saying I want to go up against a linebacker with the New York Giants. Why would I want to take that pain? I got to identify where opportunities are. And yes, it's 6,600. That's nationwide. In your area, that might only be 6. So what? If 6 people a month and you can rank for it, you have 6 opportunities a month. That's the way I look at it. It's how many opportunities can I create? So if I do this 1,000 times, can I create 10,000 opportunities? That doesn't mean you're going to close them. That means you have the opportunity. So let's say your seed keyword on SEO that you're doing is pest control, right? And that's the competitive keyword. That's what you're trying to rank for overall. That's what your site is about. Pest control service. All right, a generic term is ants. Okay, so ants. Well, what about ants? Well, we're going to show you that. Your head keyword, ant control. This is where you got your ant control page, right? And ant control basically in Kalamazoo, Michigan. You want to rank for that. Pest control near me in Kalamazoo, Michigan. You see, so your money keywords are these. Ant control is just a head keyword to all of these. A long tail keyword would be, are there ant control professionals in Kalamazoo, Michigan? Right? That's for your blog. You see how important the blog is? Because people are actually searching for that. Now, precise pest control, biology of German roaches or German cockroach. That's very specific. That's a tough word, even though it's low competition. But if you include in the text, in apartments in Kalamazoo, now you created a local long tail keyword that people want to know about. Oh, this is in my city. Let me click on this one because this one is, he has to know something about roaches in my city. Questions. Can I get a red big bug forever? That's a question keyword. That belongs to a blog. That doesn't belong to a page. A relevant keyword would be exterminating. How do I rank for exterminating? Exterminating near me. Exterminating bed bugs. Exterminating, you see where I'm going with this? This is kind of the way you need to start thinking when it comes to this process. So we get past keyword research and now we get into schema markup. Listen, almost all the websites I do an audit on have no schema markup. It's vitally important that you create schema markup. I can create a rich snippet, and look what that means, and I'll teach you what that means, for, let's say, for my Google reviews. So that when I do a search online or somebody is searching and my page pops up, Google can actually choose to put my Google reviews in there, in the search result. And it's important to have it, okay? Because remember, we're looking for opportunities. People are making decisions in split seconds of who they're going to call. So it is important, especially for local SEO, to identify your company specifically as a company that does business in a state where there's a city, where there's multiple cities, and especially doing schema markup on each individual page. And you say, that's a lot of work. I said, I know. This is why there's software that easily does this for you so you don't have to write the code. And then I teach you how to use that software. So you need this schema markup, which most people don't know about. Web developers don't know about it, and web designers don't know about it because, remember, they're not SEO people. One's a creative, the other one is looking at the technical aspect of that site. Nobody's thinking about the SEO. Okay, so if you're going to do it, you're going to have to get into it. Let me talk to you about the site structure. So let's say you have mypestcontrol.com, all right? And you create a pest library now, you see, for that keyword ants, pest library. Why is it important? Well, because you can use it for internal linking for relevance, and Google is trying to find relevance. When a bot is searching your site, it's crawling it, and it's looking at all of this and saying, okay, I get it. I get what he's doing. I get what he's about. I can follow these links everywhere, and it leads to something of this. So the pest library, ants. Now, you get more specific, right? Crazy ants. Well, that crazy ant, that ant website has a parent-child relationship. You see it, pest library, ants/crazy ants, parent-child. They're all related. Google can easily understand this is related to each other. Service pages are your ant control page, right? But now you have a local page that says pest control, Kalamazoo, Michigan, pest control, Ann Arbor, pest control, and you create, you're creating all of these local service pages that can potentially have other GMBs in that city to link to it. Because you can create multiple GMBs as long as you have an actual physical location, and your state agricultural board allows it. Florida doesn't allow you to have just random, um, you know, locations without a certified operator. So you need to look at your legality. I mean, my SEO guy says, "Oh, I found a loophole around it. We can just create more stores." Yeah, and then the state's going to hit me, and every competitor is going to report me to the state, and Google is going to knock it down, and then I'm going to get my account suspended. It's not worth it. Local service pages and control. Now you're in pest control, but now you're doing ant control. Ant control is linked to the pest control, and you can either do a parent-child relationship or just an interlink. It's your choice. I've seen it done both ways. It works either way. Now you have your blog inside yours as a DIY ant control solutions in Ann Arbor, Michigan. You see, this is kind of the structure of how you need to build out a site for SEO. And what I find is, nope, they're not. Monitoring tools. Google Research Console or Google Search Console is going to be your number one thing. Also Google Analytics, which are two different. These are free by Google. This is provided. You just have to set it up. Local Falcon is the best, my opinion, for local GMB tracking keywords. And you need to track keywords on your GMB separately than you're doing it on your site. So tell me you're ranking number one for, I don't know, ants on windmills, when that's an irrelevant word that doesn't produce a call is not good. The blog has a use. The blog is supposed to get your readership for people to say, oh, I'm looking for this. Great. I read about it. Yes, I can do it. No, I can't. Let me keep looking, or let me hire this company. You see, and that's kind of where it's at. Now, Bright Local for directories listings or Yext. Yext is expensive. You're going to pay like, I don't know, $600 a year. We're trying to see if we can do some affiliate stuff where we can get discounts by bringing it in-house and managing, but I don't feel like doing SEO. I mean, I don't feel like managing the stuff. I'm not going to be creating an agency. It's just not for me right now. Bright Local, Yext, SEM Rush is the industry Bentley. You're going to pay $250 a month, but basically it's going to give you every analytic you could think of for your site and for how you're ranking and all that. And go to SEM Rush, check it out. Look at drop in your site and see where it's at. Then take my site and drop it in there. I have an allergy. It's driving me nuts. I don't know what I've got. So when we talk about in the SEO MasterClass for local SEO, not hyperlocal, not GMB, we start identifying low and medium competition words. We start doing buyer intent keywords, using near me keywords, using keywords, one word keywords. So we start dismantling this and how to use it in very specific, deciding to use keyword for pages or for posts, where are you going to use it? Phrase keywords, okay, and then long tail keyword. And what I find is that people are looking for long tail keyword software, and then they're very disappointed because understand that you're creating the long tail keyword on the creative side. Very few software. We have one that does it. It does a pretty decent job, but I say it's about 60-40. I still have to get in there and write the keywords how I want to do it, and usually I can use my competition as an example, okay? And then finding niches. You might find there's a pest problem in your city that nobody's dealing with, and or on a certain thing, on motorhomes or boats, that nobody's doing pest control for boats, and you're the only guy really targeting that. So finding niches within your segment, doing tap installation, exclusion, certain things that a lot of people aren't doing, but that you can exploit, and you can see what your competition looks like when you do a competition analysis. And you have to do competition analysis. You can't just blindly create stuff that you want, that you're interested in, without knowing if it's relevant. All right, now we're going to go beyond ChatGPT. Let me bring this up here so you can see it better. We're going to start using AI. All right, beyond ChatGPT, AI software to generate content, to generate images, to generate internal linking, tracking keywords automatically. We've got AI that will automatically rank your pages, find interlinks to link things to inside your site, recommend external backlinks to you that you can purchase, and then it will tell you these are blogs or sites that you might want to contact and see if they'll give you an article. That's the hardest part. Backlinking is the single most hardest part, but you can generate generic backlinks, and then you also have to be aware of backlinks you don't want. Somebody can spam your site and not want you to rank, and you got to know and disavow negative backlinks, and you have to be aware of it. So the software can do a lot of this. AI today can do a lot. That's why I was able to create my own in-house agency and do this efficiency with about 4 to 6 hours a week, where I used to spend maybe 8, but I used to spend 20 to 30. I used to have Eric doing this 20 to 30 hours a week. Okay, so using podcast. How do you use a podcast for SEO? And how do you generate, because you're the local expert? Understand, you've heard radio shows where people go on and it's like he has a radio show every week on this radio station. I'm going to make this a little bigger so everybody can see it. You can do the same with a podcast. You can, the Kalamazoo Pest Control Podcast, and it could be specifically to that one area, or the Michigan Pest Control Podcast. Whatever it is that you want, you can do it. Using YouTube, like I said, for SEO is vital. It's an incredible tool that's underutilized. For backlinks, you can use the playlist for backlinks or for generating local expertise. All right. And you can create a syndication network where everything automatically gets distributed to multiple blogs and multiple places, multiple sites, 20, 30 different sites instantaneously when you publish something on your site. Automatically goes to YouTube, Pinterest, and it gives you a backlink from all of those, creating a signal that you're relevant. Because this really where it's at. It's like, forget about, nobody's going to call me from there. It's about creating the relevance, and you have to be relevant. Using PBNs, these are private blog networks, and those you got to be careful on. I mean, you got to pick ones that have niches for you that you can find, and they're not cheap. You'll find that some of these are maybe $500 a month. But if you're a serious competitor and you're going to spend $1,000, $2,000 a month in marketing, it's nothing. Using press releases. I love press releases for backlinks because it'll give me backlinks from radio stations, and especially the ones in my city. Okay, you can choose to do a press release just to people and radio stations and newspapers, and there's software that automatically does the distribution. I usually buy 10 at a time, and then I start releasing them either weekly or monthly, depending on the need, on what I write and what I need to get out there. That's how you would use it. And using social signals, again, I can't, for backlinks, you need the social signals, and don't discount that. Understanding Google updates and prevent penalties. One of the sites I recommend is this one, the Google Search Console. Look that up. Google helpful content updates. What Google says is helpful. How often should you post? If you have a brand new site, you need to let that site sit for a bit and mature before you start pounding it with content. If you got a new URL, not a new refresh site, but a brand new URL, you need to let it mature for a bit. Usually about 30 days, you wait before you start putting a whole bunch of content on it and stuffing it. You want to build it out gradually. Build out your pages first, which tells about that you're a business and that you're doing commercial transactions versus being an information site. Okay, that's kind of it. I don't know if anybody. Let me switch over. To what's on there. Let me stop sharing. Sharing. I don't know that everybody see that. Let me see here. How do I? myself, and I'm at an hour right now. There's a stop. Oh, here it is. Stop share. Here we go. All right. So we're doing the stop share, and everybody, I'm going to open up. Let me see if anybody has in my Restream software. Give me a second, really quick. When I open up Restream, and where did it go? Oh, here we go. View the stream. All right. And let me check if anybody's in the chat. Nobody's in the chat. So, this is going to be our introduction to the SEO, and I'm going to conclude with that, and then, we'll, for those of you that are interested, go ahead and just message me that you're interested in this. I will go ahead. Yeah, we got some people on. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out where you guys are at on what app. Because I see there's, oh, you know what? It could be on Pest Geek that you guys are watching. Let me go over real quick to Pest Geek, my groups, and let's see, are you there? Give me a second. What about Pest Pages? No, let's go to the pages. Where are my pages? Here we go. You're commenting one share, so one person shared it. Okay. No worries. Just hit me up if you want to take the courses. I'm going to put a link in a little bit in this post to all of the links to the courses that we're coming up with for SEO, and then there's two of them. One is the local SEO course for the GMB. The other one is the MasterClass for SEO, which encompasses basically everything on a website that you need to do to rank on Google in Google SERPs. So those are the things that are available. If anybody's got any questions, please hit me up. Hey, thank you so much, and have a spectacular day.